Hey guys, it's Tim and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on what is today? The 29th of April. It's almost May, but it's not yet. 29th of April to talk everything Monday Night Raw. Tonight's Monday Night Raw. It was an interesting show. There was a lot of, in my opinion, meh. Like there were some things that was like, okay, that was needed. That was interesting. That was cool. But then at the same time, there was a lot of like, could have done without that. Could have really done without that. So with that going forward, as I try to get the live chat to load for me because YouTube wants to, I won't bore you guys with the behind the scenes stuff of YouTube and them changing things around here recently. Let's see if we can get this live chat to load so I can see who's actually here with us in the live chat. Come on, YouTube. So looking at things, let me pull it up a different way because YouTube wants to be a pain and doesn't want to allow me to see the live chat for some reason. Let me load it a different way. Give me one moment, guys, so that way I'm right with you. All right, I got the live chat now. So we've got Henry McKenna-Carvalho, Kristen McNutt. We've got Tress123, Joe Decker. We've got Woken King Slender, Nelson. What's going on, all you guys? Woken King Slender says, AJ was acting rather heelish, wasn't he? Or heelish tonight, wasn't he? A little bit. But at the same time, he was telling the truth. He was a truther. He was a full truther. Excuse me. So Monday Night Raw kicked off tonight with Alexa Bliss. She came out. Oh, here we go. Nope, it didn't do it. I said Alexa. My Amazon Echo almost went off again. So Monday Night Raw kicked off with Alexa Bliss. Alexa came out and stated that she was going to announce the competitors for the Money in the Bank ladder match. So she goes out there. She says there's going to be 8 competitors, 4 from Raw and 4 from SmackDown. We now know that those quote-unquote leaked graphics, either they were super old or they're completely fake. We're going to go with fake. Fortunately, sometimes it falls through the cracks. Everybody reported it, so, it just seemed legit. It looked right. The graphics and stuff, so I apologize for that one. But Bliss comes out, she says the first competitor will be last year's Money in the Bank winner, Braun Strowman. Going forward, she would then announce, well, first Michael Cole gave us a useful reminder that he won last year, even though Alexa had just said it. Bliss then introduced that next would be the man who redefined aerial combat. Corey Graves repeated the line, and then she said, Ricochet. So Ricochet comes out, gets a pretty good reaction from the crowd in Lexington. She then announced the Scottish psychopath, Drew McIntyre. Got a modest heel reaction. And then she announces Baron Corbin. She starts to read his accolades, like the announcers do. She goes, and the crowd starts booing. Boo! They don't want to hear any of this. She goes, oh, I'm not going to read all of this. Baron Corbin, come out. So Corbin comes out. And Corbin said that he's going to become a 2-time contract winner. Then Ricochet said, why? So you can become the first 2-time contract loser? And reminding him that he failed when he tried to cash in last time. Corbin asked if Ricochet's mommy is going to let him out to play. McIntyre then said Ricochet had a point. McIntyre said that Corbin stole his opportunity last week. Then he failed in the main event against AJ Styles. McIntyre said he was tired of outside forces screwing his chances at the Universal Championship. He would be in control when he wins Money in the Bank. Ricochet then said that he wasn't here to talk. McIntyre told him to shut up and leave the business to the grown-ups. McIntyre then argued with Corbin for a minute before Strowman took the mic and told them both to shut up. He then challenged them to a tag match right now, him and Ricochet, against Corbin and McIntyre. Nice. I mean, I don't know if I can say nice. Nice thing about this was that it didn't go 20, 25 minutes like a usual opening segment of Raw. It only went about 10. And so we go to commercial break. When we come back, we get the tag team match. We were alerted that later in the night, Alexa Bliss will come back out to announce the women for Money in the Bank that will be representing Monday Night Raw. So we get a nice tag team match here. Ricochet and Corbin worked really well together in this 14-15 minute match. Cole said there would be a separate moment of bliss, like I stated earlier. Ricochet began a comeback early in the match, but Corbin cut him off and went to another break about 5 minutes or so into the match. After the break, Corbin was still working over Ricochet. Strowman chased him around, and Strowman chased Corbin as McIntyre was taking on Ricochet on the other side of the ring. McIntyre then cut him off with a Claymore kick. Ricochet eventually came back with a drop kick of his own. He then made the hot tag to Strowman, who nailed McIntyre with a big shoulder tackle. Strowman then ran into the ring post, and Ricochet tagged himself in. McIntyre set up for the Claymore kick, but Corbin tagged himself in. Ricochet then slipped away and tagged in Strowman. There's a lot of back and forth tagging in and tagging out. Strowman then gave Corbin a huge power slam. Ricochet hit a nice shooting star press, pinned Corbin. 1, 2, 3. The baby faces do come out victorious. I like this. And the crowd in Lexington, Kentucky really liked Ricochet here. That's something that we can all agree on. Ricochet got an amazing pop from the crowd. Excuse me. So then next up, the Usos would come out. And Corey Graves said something to the effect of, the Usos have, what was the line he said? The Usos have guaranteed to show us something we've never seen before on Raw. So we come back from commercial. They're in the ring waiting for opponents, and out comes Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, who have seemingly been moved back over to Monday Night Raw. Gallows and Anderson did an interesting promo. They ripped off the Usos, referring to the Good Brothers Penitentiary. They called themselves Bulletproof. So this match, a little back and forth early before they went to a commercial, actually kind of quickly. The heels worked over the baby faces. Jimmy Uso, after a commercial break, eventually caught Gallows with an enziguri, then made a hot tag to his brother Jay. Jay gave Anderson a Samoan drop and a running hip attack for 2. Jay missed a stinger splash, and Anderson gave him a spine buster for 2. Jimmy then did make a save on Jay with a super kick to Anderson. Both Usos gave Gallows a super kick. Jay took out Anderson with a dive. Jimmy then hit a flying splash. I can't read my own writing. On Gallows for the pin. Afterwards, we still had Corey Graves going, okay, where's our never seen it before? And so they basically tell us, watch this video on the big screen. So we watch this video on the big screen, and we see it's the Usos backstage. You don't know what's going on. It almost looks like they're trying to set up a hidden camera or something. And they're not being quiet about this at all. So they're all talking and everything. Ooh, let's see you do, whatever. And the camera pans over into like a shower stall, like a big, locker room shower. And it's Dash Wilder shaving the back of Scott Dawson. And the Usos are laughing and yelling and being loud. And it's like, how the hell did the Revival not hear them? Excuse me. So finally, one of the Usos says something like in a weird what's the word I'm looking for? Like a voice. I don't know exactly the word he used. I can't remember exactly what he said. But it was like I don't know. I'm trying to remember the exact verbiage, but he said something like, I can't remember. It was dumb. The Revival turn around. Wilder drops the razor that he was using to shave Scott Dawson's back, and then it cuts back to the ring, and the Usos are laughing, and out come the Revival. The Revival are like, hey, That's something that best friends of 20 years do to each other. They got each other's backs. I got his back, you got my back, blah, blah, blah. And the Usos go, wait, you shave his back, he shave your back, you shave his back. I'm like, could this be any dumber? And the crowd's like dead, not reacting to any of this because it's so stupid. Again, like I said at the beginning of this, there was some stuff that was not needed, that could have been done without, and this was one of them. So basically, the Usos kind of like, we're all, you want to fight? Let's fight. Come to the Uso Penitentiary. And the Revival were like, we don't have time for you. We got to get ready for our match later on tonight against the Tag Team Champions. We had a commercial that said Kushida will debut on NXT this week. Then we got an episode of Miz TV. So I was asking when Miz moved over to Raw, are they going to continue doing Moment of Bliss and no Miz TV? Or bring Miz TV to Raw and no Moment of Bliss? And it looks like we're getting both on the same show. So Miz came out. Cole yells, we had a Moment of Bliss and now Miz TV. His special guest was Bobby Lashley with no Lio Rush. That could be telling based off of what we learned this weekend. Lashley referred to himself in the third person, which Miz acknowledged. Lashley said that he would only answer questions that he wanted to answer. Miz then said that some claimed that Lashley hadn't reached his full potential. Lashley reminded him that he was a two-time Intercontinental Champion in just a year since returning to the WWE. He wondered what Miz has done. Miz ran down a bunch of his accolades, and the crowd lightly cheered for it. Miz said, if anything, I'm an overachiever. And he goes, have you seen my wife? Which, yeah, he overachieved there for sure. So going forward, Miz said nobody would ever question his own potential, unlike Lashley's. Lashley reminded him that he lost to Shane McMahon at WrestleMania and said it was no wonder his father thought he was worthless. Miz wildly attacked Lashley and sent him to the outside with a boot. Miz tossed some chairs and then went to a break. And after the break, we did learn that it's Bobby Lashley versus The Miz. Chris McGunn says, Tim, what's going on with Lio Rush? So there's been reports over the last couple of days that Lio Rush is kind of like full of himself. He's been rubbing people the wrong way, thinking that he should be like one of the top stars in the company, or at least on Monday Night Raw. And some like it. Some say, hey, he's confident. But a lot of other people are like, no, he should not be talking like that. He's got to earn his position, not just think he's there. And he put out a statement saying, hey, if you're not confident in yourself, no one else is going to be confident and believe in you. And then we heard there was some sort of an incident with Finn Balor. I'm not 100% sure what happened there. So he got a little bit of heat on him. Maybe a little more than a little. I don't know exactly. But there's some people that think that he's, I don't know if I should use the word arrogant, but he's a little full of himself. So going forward, the match starts during a commercial break. Bobby Lashley was in control when we came back from the commercial. Cole reminded us that Lashley also lost at WrestleMania. Miz came back with kicks in the corner and then a running knee. Shane McMahon's music would then hit, and he came out on the stage and then down to ringside. Miz remained in control of the match despite being distracted by Shane and caught Lashley with a DDT for a 2. Miz followed with the it kicks as he continued to look back at Shane periodically. A picture of Miz's dad then popped up on the big screen, and that was the one distraction that was just too much for the Miz. This allowed Lashley to give Miz a spear and pin him, defeating the Miz. After the match, Shane McMahon would jump in the ring and attack the Miz. The two fought until Lashley killed him with a spine buster. Miz then jumped in again, and Shane jumped on Miz again and hammered him with forearms and punches. He then put him in a triangle submission and choked him out. Miz was unconscious. He then grabbed a mic and let Miz know that he's the best in the world. Sure. So going forward, we got the Viking Raiders taking on Lucha House Party's Grand Metalik and Kalisto. Lucha House Party actually tried to attack the Viking Raiders beforehand, but it wasn't much of a upper hand, as the Viking Raiders did win this match in just under 2 minutes. They gave Dorado a clothesline, suplex combo. The crowd was dead for this, but hey, it was entertaining. We then got the second edition of A Moment of Bliss tonight. Alexa Bliss would come out and state that she's going to announce the women representing Raw in Money in the Bank. The first name she announced was the Queen of Hearts, Natalya. She would then announce Dana Brooke. Yes, Dana Brooke is going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, she could barely have a match with Tamina, and you're going to put her in there in Money in the Bank? I mean, Ronda Rousey barely made Dana Brooke look good. I don't know about this one. So Dana Brooke comes out. She starts complaining, and then her and Natty start bickering, and finally Alexa's just like, shut up. I've got more names. She announces Naomi. Naomi called herself a 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion, and her only goal was to win the Raw title now. All three argued, and Bliss again yelled at them, saying that they're worse than the men. Bliss asked them to stop arguing so she could announce the final competitor, who has been waiting oh so patiently to be announced. And then she says, oh, that's me, last year's Miss Money in the Bank. Bliss told them to leave so she can have the spotlight. Naomi didn't like that and challenged her to a match right here, right now. Bliss said that she would, but she didn't really want to. She also didn't have her gear and wasn't even wearing the proper shoes. Naomi said that she could beat her with or without her shoes. So we ended up getting Naomi versus Alexa Bliss, but we also got before the Firefly Funhouse. New episode of Firefly Funhouse, everybody. So Bray Wyatt was painting in this one. Now, last week there was, for some reason, I don't know why, there was controversy online. Oh, why is there an empty space on the wall next to the door, the left side of the door, or the right side of the door, depending on how you're looking at it? And it's because Bray hadn't painted the photo that goes there yet. So he paints a photo, which allowed him to express his suppressed feelings. A rat puppet wanted to see what he was painting. Then Bray revealed that it was a burning barn, which is ironic. It's the same barn, I believe, that Randy Orton burned down where Sister Abigail was buried under. Then Abby the Witch would then interrupt. Bray later told us that she's a sociopath. Another puppet would pop up and go, that should be our word of the week. And Bray goes, yes, sociopath, word of the week, SOCIA. IOPATH, sociopath. Well, basically, Firefly Funhouse. The witch told him that she needed peace and quiet, and that's why he called her a sociopath. So yeah, Abby the Witch. It was funny though, because he goes, you know, Abby, she's a real sociopath. Like, you think he's going to call her a bitch or something. So then going forward, we got Naomi versus Alexa Bliss. Bliss controlled most of the match despite her repeatedly having to keep tying her shoes. In the previous segment, you know, she did mention the shoes, and those come into play later. Naomi hit a jawbreaker and tried to grab a Bliss by the legs, but her shoes popped off. This allowed Alexa Bliss to get back to her feet while Naomi was like, what do I do with these shoes? This allowed Naomi to... Well, first, Bliss argued with the referee saying she couldn't continue because her shoes came off. So Naomi hit the hip attack. A perfect, like, this springboard moonsault couldn't have looked any better by Naomi. This was perfect. Hit that moonsault, springboard, 1, 2, 3. Naomi beats Alexa Bliss. Backstage, Charlie Caruso asked Rey Mysterio what his thoughts were about challenging Samoa Joe tonight. Dominic was there with him, his son. Mysterio said that it wasn't easy being his size in a land of giants, and he felt like, he was going to let everybody down, and that he maybe did at WrestleMania, including his family and his son who's here with him. Mysterio knew that he was a better man than this and was going to prove it tonight against Samoa Joe. So then, after commercial break, Charlie Caruso was in the ring with Becky Two Belt. So she interviews Becky. The crowd was chanting Becky Two Belts. Becky got a really good reaction here. Caruso asked why she would put both titles on the line at Money in the Bank. Lynch said the crowd was answering that question for her. Lynch said that it was not to be impulsive, but her journey took her here. She was just trying to protect what is hers and her 2 titles. She says she wants to fight and fight for everything that she's got. She says she wouldn't be standing here as champion if she was worried about the odds. A year ago, nobody thought she could main event WrestleMania, but she did. A month ago, the so-called the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey, was unbeatable. But Lynch beat her for 2 belts. Lynch said nothing that she has done was by accident. Even if people put her at a disadvantage, we should remember that, she was at a disadvantage at WrestleMania. She's been dodging disadvantages all of her life. She says Charlotte Flair may have the tools, but the man had the numbers. She then talks about Lacey Evans and her woman's right hand. Caruso showed a replay of Evans punching her last week. Lynch grabbed the mic, called her Chuck, and then called out Lacey Evans. Evans did come out. The 2 brawled at ringside. It kind of looked a little sloppy, the brawl itself. Lynch continued to attack, even though officials and referees were trying to break the 2 women up. Crowd was chanting, "Let them fight." Lynch again broke through. The 2 brawled. They were separated. They brawled again. They were separated. And, yeah. Becky got a good reaction, but the brawl with Lacey just didn't do it for me. Excuse me. So then we had the Raw Tag Team Champions, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, taking on the Revival in a non-title match. Match went about 4 minutes or so. Ryder and Hawkins had new generic music. Kind of weird. The crowd was chanting, "Shave your back" at Dawson. Even though technically we saw him already shave his back. Now we don't know if they finished. We assumed they finished. Revival dominated most of the match, but then Ryder caught Dawson with a crucifix pin out of nowhere for the victory. So as we go backstage, The Miz was being interviewed by Sheriff Schreiber, and he said, WrestleMania, Shane and I, we fought all over MetLife Stadium. But now, I want to keep it in the ring. I want to make sure it stays in the ring. So I challenged Shane to a steel cage match at Money in the Bank. Less than 90 seconds later, Shane McMahon sends out a tweet accepting the steel cage match. So here's my thing. Shane jumping off that cage, right? Like, there's no way Shane's not jumping off that cage. So Sami Zayn comes out for a promo. Zayn said that he was kind enough to show some images of how nice his life was, but his life was great for more reasons than just those few trips. He rekindled his love of history, his love of psychology, and other things. He said reading about psychology really made him understand the fans. He posted a simplified definition of psychology entitlement on the screen. The fans thought that, or he said that the fans thought that they were always right and they should be given everything they want. Crowd was completely dead. Like, not a peep at all. He told a story of a man who encouraged his son to ask him for an autograph at 4 o'clock in the morning at a airport. Wanted him to sign a Sami Zayn. Wanted him to sign a Sami Zayn figure. He said he refused. He figured the fans thought that he enjoyed doing so, but it actually made him sick. He said it made him sick because a 5-year-old thinks that he's already entitled to things. He said that he's been more than generous in his career. He thought 17 years of giving us 5-star matches was pretty fair. But from now on, he was just going to give us whatever he wanted, whatever he felt was right, and we're going to have to take it. He mocked the fans who thought that he should just quit if he doesn't like it in WWE. And this is my theory coming true. I think the new Sami Zayn is a rib on everybody that wants out of WWE. Luke Gallows, The Revival, Sasha Banks, Mike and Maria Kanellis. Because it's like that line when he says, the fans tell me if I don't want to be here, I should just quit. Now, if that's not Vince McMahon saying, I'll make fun of you, you're going to have to watch, and you're going to have to stay here. That's just, I don't know. Super troll move. Going forward, he said quitting would be amazing, but what would be more amazing was holding them, and them as in the fans, all accountable every single week. He called them drunk with power, and he was going to take their power back. So yeah, Sami Zayn is basically Vince McMahon telling all the wrestlers in the back that want to leave, I know you're unhappy, I know you don't want to be here, but I own you and your contract. So then we did get a Rey Mysterio versus Samoa Joe. Match went about 7 minutes or so. Joe said Mysterio's son was ashamed of him and how quickly he fell asleep or went to sleep at WrestleMania. He said if Mysterio was any kind of father, he would have given his son a mask as well to hide the shame. Mysterio was used by AJ Styles last week to steal the Universal title opportunity, according to Joe. And he said that he's going to take out his frustrations on Mysterio. Not much to talk about in the match. There was a really fun match, and then it ended abruptly when Mysterio used an unconvincing cradle on the larger Samoa Joe for the victory. Second cradle out of nowhere on the night. Anthony in the chat says, do you think WWE is going to sign Rey's son to a contract? Maybe. I don't see why not. I know Rey's been having him train with all the best trainers. He's trained down in Mexico. He trained in Canada with Lance Storm. Rey's really wanting to get his son a lot of different kinds of training and then maybe get him into WWE eventually. So then going forward, we had the main event segment. It was Money in the Bank Universal Championship contract signing. Cole was the host. He said many called Rollins and Styles the best in-ring performers of their generations. He then introduced both men. Styles said that it was the whole reason he came to Raw, to win the Universal title. He said he's already a multi-time WWE champion, and he's done everything he could on SmackDown. He also said that he knows that the loudest, most rowdiest fans are on Monday Night Raw. He said he's always liked Rollins, but Rollins had something he wanted, and that's the Universal Championship. Styles said that people do Styles said that people do unexpected things to get what they want. He noted that people thought that Rollins could be the next AJ Styles. AJ went on to say, yeah, you may be faster, you may be stronger, you may be younger, but you're never going to be me. You're never going to be AJ Styles or the next AJ Styles. Rollins then went on to say that he never wanted to be the next AJ or the next anybody. He wanted to be the first Seth freaking Rollins. Rollins said that this wasn't the house that he built. This was Monday Night Rollins. He said, you, AJ, like to build things up, but I like to burn things down. He said that he would be better than the phenomenal one and give AJ a phenomenal beating. Styles noted how Rollins worked just to win the title and wondered how well he was holding up now. Crowd chanted, burn it down. Styles said that he would burn it down and then burn it back up. He stated that he beat Brock Lesnar to win this title. So if AJ wants to know how he really is, go ask Brock. Styles and Rollins. Rollins went through hell at Mania, he said. And Styles didn't think much of it. Styles was ready to fight here. And AJ pulled off his vest and attacked Seth. Two fought for a little while before Seth Rollins kicked AJ Styles out of the ring. AJ then jumped up on the ropes. AJ hit a phenomenal forearm on Seth Rollins, which ended up actually putting Seth Rollins through a table. Styles came off very heelish. And that's how the show ended. It was like, that's it. They go through the table. AJ standing tall. AJ seemed like a little bit of a heel. And then it was over. Overall, there was a lot of stuff on this show that could have been without. Like all the women bickering. All the men bickering at the beginning. But the women were worse. And so it's like, I don't know. Sometimes, like last week's show wasn't horrible. I'm not saying this week's show was horrible either. I'm saying there was a lot more this week of meh than there was last week, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but it's just my opinion. Crowd seemed to love a lot of the stuff, though, on this show. Live crowd, and that place was packed in Lexington, Kentucky. That place was packed. So with that, after Monday Night Raw went off the air, though, Revival came out to try to attack Seth Rollins, and apparently, I haven't seen video or anything of it, but I heard that Seth hit them both with a double curb stomp. And now, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you guys thought of tonight's Monday Night Raw. If you guys do want to call into the show, you can do so at 559-475-8473. Again, 559-475-8473. As we wait for some calls to come in. Henry McKinnon says Dominic is going to get put to sleep. Excuse me. Get put to sleep by Joe. Joe Decker says Joe's hand was under the ropes. I did forget to mention that. Yes. And that's probably going to play in to keeping this feud going, where Joe's going to be like, you really didn't beat me. You really didn't beat me, Ray. Let's take this call. Caller on the air, what's going on?
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
I have fine. I have a question, actually. What do you, with them already setting up, honestly, realistically, I don't think Braun's going to win the Money in the Bank, because it doesn't seem like a face is successful. When a face wins it, the Money in the Bank, it doesn't work that well. It seems that benefits a heel character better. Someone like a Drew McIntyre or a cowardly heel like when a Miz was. You understand what I'm saying?
CM Punk
it doesn't seem like that.
CM Punk was a babyface when he won Money in the Bank.
No, I thought he was a heel.
Not the first time.
The first time he was a heel?
No, the first time he was a babyface coming from ECW.
Okay, no, but the second time I thought he was a heel. Did he win the Money in the Bank twice?
Right, he won 2 years in a row. I don't think he was a heel the second time. I can double check. I don't think so.
But what are your predictions for the... I know you don't like doing spoilers, but what are your predictions for the SmackDown people?
You know, if I had to predict who I think is going to be on here from SmackDown, I would think Aleister Black, Ricochet.
Ricochet's already on.
I'm not Ricochet. I meant Andrade. My bad.
Andrade.
If you need two more, you know, it's tough because you don't want to just load it up with.
It confuses me. How are they setting? Are they doing a Money in the Bank now, where whoever wins it, they can choose whatever champion they want? This is what confuses me. Why don't they do two separate Money in the Bank ladder matches?
Because you don't want You don't need 4 Money in the Bank ladder matches on one show. 2 is enough, more than enough. Like, do you really want to see 4 Money in the Bank ladder matches on one show?
Yeah, but do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense to have a Raw. You already know the Raw person's going to choose the
Not necessarily,
Universal Championship.
Not necessarily, because they didn't, have they said you can only challenge for your champion on your brand? Maybe this could be a way to move somebody over outside of the Superstar Shakeup sometime down the line.
Yeah, and honestly, well, my predictions are for this is like you said, Andrade, Alistair, maybe who is it? Daniel Bryan.
I wouldn't expect Daniel Bryan to be in this match. No.
Or maybe like Mustafa.
I would think from SmackDown it would probably be Aleister Black, Andrade, maybe Mustafa Ali, and maybe Randy Orton.
But like I said before, why does it seem like the Money in the Bank is more successful for a heel character than a babyface? Is because it seems like is it because it's a more opportunist thing? Is that what it is?
Because it's a more of out of nowhere heel thing to do, to attack your opponent from behind after they've already been beat up in a match. So it's just more of a heel thing to do, to come out of nowhere and say, I'm going to cash in on you and beat you up after you've already been beat up. So, I mean, like Michael Cole said tonight, 81% of the time the Money in the Bank does actually get cashed in successfully. We've only seen a couple of times when it wasn't successful. But with that, I do want to say thank you for the call and have a great night.
You too.
So going on with his question, who would I predict from Raw or from SmackDown? We also got to look at the women. What women could possibly get added on to Money in the Bank? And I think maybe Mandy Rose, Carmella, Ember Moon, and Bayley, I think are the 4 women possibly that can be added to Money in the Bank to represent SmackDown Live. But let's jump in and take another call here. Calling on the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim, how you doing, big man?
Pretty good, yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. This is JD. I got you a couple times last week, and I was really surprised, and I'm glad I got you tonight.
Well, what's going on?
Hey, man, I want to agree with you 100%. 1 minute into that Sami Zayn promo, it sounded like Vince McMahon was literally speaking right through his head.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Man, that was incredible. I can't believe they did it like that, man.
I mean, it's very weird. Because he's saying everything that you would think someone that wants to leave the company is saying, Like he said last week, this place is what did he say? He said something along the lines of like, this place makes me feel depressed. Everybody here only thinks about themselves.
Down and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
man,
then,
I would agree with you 100%.
And then the thing tonight, when he was like, people tell me if I don't want to be here, I should just quit, but I can't. Like, wow.
That was Vince McMahon when he said something along the lines where you guys don't like it too bad, or something along the lines like, I kind of control you. I have the power. I'm taking it back.
Exactly.
That was Vince. That was Vince all the way. Oh, yeah. Hey, and did you hear about the Revival turning down the new contract?
Yes, I did hear that. So apparently, for anybody in the chat that has not heard, or anybody listening, it was reported by Fightful.com today that the Revival was offered 5-year deals to make $500,000 a year, and they turned it down.
Per person.
Right, per person. And they still have 1 more year left on their contract.
Damn, that long?
Yeah, because when they came to the main roster, they signed a new 3-year deals. So they're locked in till right after Mania next year.
Yeah, man. Hey, and I was, I think somebody got basically punished for saying no to the contract by literally just making them look like boobs tonight, the Revival.
Well, I mean,
that was horrible, man.
Did you hear what happened after the show went off the air?
Yeah, they jumped Seth Rollins. They got curb stomped a couple times.
Yep. So they were made to look bad. They were made to look bad a second time in front of the live crowd.
Actually, no, 3 times. Back shaving.
Oh yeah, the back shaving thing.
Them losing to Kurt Hawkins and again after Kurt hasn't won in so many years, which I love the guy, and I think he should I think both of them, him and Ryder, should take off and go do something else. I think they got punished tonight, big time.
Seems
and I'm very intrigued with the Bray Wyatt new character, and I'm kind of curious how long that they're going to keep him going with the promoters and everything. Not the promoters, with the guys that back the company, WWE company. How long are they going to accept them infringing on Blue's Clues, Pee-wee's Playhouse, and I think there's another one that they're kind of infringing on.
Well, I mean, as long as they're not using anything copywritten to those shows, there's nothing really wrong that they're doing. It's just their take on a children's entertainment, or what's the word I'm looking for? A children's educational entertainment show. And since they're not doing anything, it's not like they're using any copywritten names or anything like that looks exactly like anything from those other shows. Yeah, the set kind of gives you a Blue's Clues feel to it, where it's like he's real life and everything else kind of seems drawn on and whatnot. But I don't know if you can go as far as saying they're infringing.
And they're pretty close.
Oh yeah,
I would say, because the first time I saw it was like, wait a second, is this Blue's Clues or is this Pee-wee's Playhouse?
Right.
I thought it was crazy, and this new gimmick that he's coming out with, I don't know, man. I think it's pretty intriguing, pretty interesting. I'm just curious how long they're going to be able to get away with it.
I
want to say. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, go for it.
Well, all right. Well, I said this last week, and I hate to almost say it again. It's just like all the guys that are getting called up from NXT to tag teams and everything. They just can't get War Raiders right. The Viking Raiders. They just can't get their name right, man. Tim, I want to say thank you. I got to get back to work. It's been a pleasure. And go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say about that.
All right. I want to say thank you for the call and have a great night.
JD out.
So the thing about, how he asked how long you think they can keep this going. I'm surprised the reactions that it is getting. And it's not just getting all the fans are crapping on it. All the fans are saying how stupid it is. It's this is so different than anything we've ever seen. The fans are actually, at least the fans on Twitter for the majority, are intrigued to see where this goes. I'm intrigued to see where this goes. Because it's going to be interesting once this does turn into, it's no longer vignettes, it's Bray actually on TV in the ring. Do his friends come down with him in his corner? Does he bring Abby the Witch? Does he bring the Buzzard? Does he bring the rabbit? I think it was the little rabbit. I could be wrong. So, they can keep this going as long as it's getting the positive reactions and even some negative reactions because, nobody's going to love everything. So, I think they can keep this going for a little while. It's just, how is it going to correlate in the ring is the very big thing. Is it just going to go back to, he's not going to, I hope he doesn't try and cut these same kind of promos in the ring in front of the live crowd, because that's when you're really going to see this isn't what the fans want. It's interesting with the way they're doing it because, they're shooting it just like he said, a Blue's Clues or a Pee-wee's Playhouse or something like that, or a Bear in the Big Blue House kind of deal. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know if this will work in the ring. Hopefully they don't give him his own little talk show segment, the Firefly Funhouse, where he's got him and his puppet friends, and then that someone comes down to get interviewed or something. That I'm just hoping stuff like that doesn't happen. But let's take another call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hi, this is Rachel, and I have a question.
Go for it.
Do you think Sasha Banks will be in the Money in the Bank? Because I think that she will be because she'll be with Bailey and all that kind of stuff, and because she didn't appear on Raw, so I think they probably moved her for SmackDown.
Sasha Banks is still on Monday Night Raw. She was not announced tonight for Money in the Bank. She does not want to come to work. She will not be at Money in the Bank from last I was hearing.
And also, do you think Rey Mysterio and Samoa Joe will be Samoa Joe will be have his title up for
Yeah, I think
be against.
Yeah, I think with Rey winning tonight, it's going to set up Rey versus Joe for the U.S. title at probably most likely Money in the Bank.
And do you think Rey will finally get the U.S. title off of Samoa Joe?
I think there's a better chance than not that Rey does win the title. I don't think they should take the title off of Joe yet. Joe should hold that title for a little while because Joe, actually the title on Joe, it means something. Joe makes the title seem important by the way he talks about being the champion and wanting to be a champion, not just, oh, hey, I got this belt. So I think Joe should keep the title, but I think there is a better chance than not that Rey does get the title from Samoa Joe.
Okay, that's all my question.
All right, thanks for the call and have a great night.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. The thing with possibly Rey winning the title, they got to keep Rey happy. Rey signed a 3-year deal with the WWE when he came back last fall, but he has an 18-month out clause. If he's not happy at 18 months, he can leave. So they got to keep him happy, and what better way to make him happy than give him that U.S. title? That's my opinion. But, I think there's a better chance than not that Rey does walk out the champion. And let's take one final call. Caller on the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim.
How's it going?
I just tried to text line, but I guess I got through, so I can ask the questions if that's still good.
Yeah.
Since AJ is back on Raw, do you think there could possibly be like a club reunion sometime or not?
I don't think so. I think with Gallows and Anderson making it known that they want to leave the company, they're not going to put them in any sort of prominent position. It's kind of like, the Revival. The Revival, yes, they were put in a prominent position, but only done to look bad, basically. And with Gallows and Anderson, it's like, oh, you don't want to resign? Okay, we'll just make you lose every week we see you.
Yeah, and I saw that contract too with the Revival. Wasn't it $500,000 or something?
Yeah, they were both offered. They're each offered $500,000 a year for 5 years. WWE was trying to lock people in for as many years as possible, and they said no, they don't want it. They've got 1 year left on their contracts, and they're going to ride it out.
And I was a couple more things, and you probably couldn't see Mrs. Dad get involved in Money in the Bank, could you? Again?
Well, if it's a cage match, how's he going to get in there?
I mean, I was thinking maybe like a ref or something, or just have him, or no.
No, it's steel cage, 1-on-1. I don't see Mrs. Dad getting involved. Maybe he's at ringside again, but I don't see him getting involved.
Well, and one last thing, do you think Dominic's gonna start sometime, or is that what they want to do? Like, have Dominic?
I don't know what his plans are. I know Rey wants him to get as much training as possible in a multitude of different facets. Like, he had him train lucha style in Mexico. He had him train more traditional style with Lance Storm up in Canada. He's wanting his son to go around to different territories, I guess you can call it, or different places to learn different styles. He doesn't want to just throw his son out there. This is kind of like what Scott Hall did. He doesn't want to just throw his son out there and just have him have to learn on the fly. or have him have to, which is not bad, but he doesn't want him to go out there and just be so green that the fans are like, oh, you're Rey's kid and you're not that good. Because like with Scott Hall, apparently WWE was willing to give Scott Hall's son Cody a tryout, and he said, no, I'm going to send him to Japan to learn. And he went and worked in Japan for a while, and it didn't really all pan out that well for Cody Hall. But, I mean, Rey's got the same kind of mentality of, I could probably get my son right into WWE, or at least get him a tryout or something. But I want him to actually learn the ropes the right way. Go around to the different types of wrestling. Maybe he sends his son to Japan next. We don't know. We'll see where it goes. Maybe Dominic's ready for WWE. Maybe he's not. I did hear Lance Storm talk good things about him from when he was training up there. So time will tell.
All right, thanks. And do you think Gage is going to be a heel or not sometime?
I think it'll be more like a tweener where he's still a babyface, but he will have heel tendencies.
Kind of like Cena, like kind of both ways. Kind of
maybe a little more.
Half and half.
Maybe a little more heel tendencies than Cena ever did.
All right. Well, thanks, Tom.
All right. Thanks for the call. Have a great night.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, it's going to wrap up tonight's show. Talked Monday Night Raw. Excuse me. Like I said, Raw was not bad, but there was a lot of filler. Stuff that I was like, why did they do that? Or they didn't need to do it that way. So we'll see if SmackDown's better tomorrow. We do know. That tomorrow night on SmackDown, Becky Lynch will go one-on-one with Bayley. And if we do hear anything else regarding tomorrow's SmackDown, we will let you know. I want to say thank you to everybody who watched live, everybody who watched later, everybody who listened over on iTunes. Thank you guys for joining me. You can follow us right here on YouTube. Hit that bell to get notifications. Follow us on Twitter at PW Unlimited. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. And we'll see you again live tomorrow following SmackDown. Have a great night, guys.